Hey guys, this video is to kind of give you some helpful hints on your lab write-up. So after you have your data, so if you go ahead and flip to this page of your bubble lab, I'm going to give you a few pointers. First of all, do not forget to put a title, and it needs to include like what we were doing. So it shouldn't just say bubbles. It should say bubbles traveling over time or something like that. Just include both distance and time in the title of your graph. Next thing is when you're setting up your graph, and some of you may have already done this, and if yours is set up, then that's fine. If not, this will help you. You need to know what labels and units to go on the side and on the bottom. And all you have to do, if you remember previously, and hopefully you did this, in my last video I helped you fill out this whole page, and I gave you your independent variable and your dependent variable. Well, the independent variable always goes on the bottom of a graph, while the dependent variable always goes on the side. So that will make this process very easy. So all you have to do is transfer your information. So flip it back over. So along the bottom would be time with the unit of clicks, because that's what our metronome was doing. That's how we were measuring it. And then along the side is going to be the distance traveled in centimeters. So that's how your graph should be set up. And then before we started, I did tell you that you should have a dot right here, because all of your lines should start from right there. So your ruler should start right there every time you're drawing your straight lines for your graph. So then after you've plotted all your points for your lines and drawn your line through your data points, I just randomly drew lines because I'm just showing you a couple of things. So do not copy what I'm doing because it's not correct. The lines are not. But I do want to remind you that you should be graphing 3 lines, one for the red tube, one for the green tube, and one for the blue tube. And you're going to need to make some sort of a key. So you can do what I did, which is using triangles to plot my points, and then circles, and then squares. And then over here I have a key that says the line with the triangles is the red, the line with the circles is green, and the line with the squares is blue. Or you can actually use a red, a green, and a blue pencil. But either way, you need to have 3 lines, and you need to make a key. Another quick reminder, I told you to circle several of these questions because you need to write complete sentences for your answers. So just a quick reminder that you need to do that for all the questions that you circled. Now I'm going to try to help you with letter F on the very back page. It says the steepness of each line can be described by the slope of the line. Calculate the slope of each line you obtained, and remember that slope is rise over run. So the first thing you want to do is separate this into 3 sections, because you have to have 3 answers, because you have the slope of each line, not just one. So we're going to have the slope of the red, the slope of the green, and the slope of the blue. And it says to remember that slope is equal to rise over run. Well, that means that you can use your graph to figure this out. So let's take a look. So we're looking at rise over run. So where we're going to get the number for our rise, which side of the graph rises? This one. So you get the number for your rise part of your slope off of this side of the graph, not grass, in other words. So we're going to look at the distance being our rise. And then for our run, we're going to look at the graph again. And which side of the graph runs? This one. It just makes sense. So we're going to get the run part of our graph from time. Now you can get this from the graph. You can pick a certain point and go figure out your rise, figure out your run, divide, and be done. Or you can also do it using your data table. So I've put in some fake data, so this is not correct at all. I made it up. Yours, you should not change yours, of course. Use what you got in the lab. So I'm going to be finding the slope of my red line today. And so I can pick any point that I want to because my graph starts at 0. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this point right here. I'm going to draw a box around it because that's the one I'm going to use. And we said that the rise is going to come from the side of the graph here, because that side of the graph rises. So I need to look at my distance first. So the distance at that point is 8 centimeters. So my rise is 8 centimeters. Okay, now I need my run. Remember, the side of the graph that runs is this side. So I'm going to look at my time for that same point. So the time at that point was 4. So then that is my run. So 4 clicks. So then all I have to do is take 8 divided by 4, which gives me 2, and that is the slope of my line. But don't forget your units. It's good to include them all the time. I have centimeters over clicks, so I just rewrite it. So that would be the slope of my red line. Just you do the same exact procedure every time, it's just that the numbers are going to change. So there's a good example for you to go off of. Another quick reminder, remember that this needs a complete sentence, not just a yes or a no. You need to tell me why you feel like the results confirmed or did not confirm your hypothesis. And then on this last question, summarizing what you have learned, it needs to be a complete sentence, capital letter, period. But I also don't want sentences like, I learned the bubbles go up the tube. No, you didn't. You already knew that. Write something about slope, write something about graphing, write something about data tables, something that you did not know before you did this lab, but now you're like, okay, if we did this again, I could do it. All right? This is how you get better. And I am helping you a lot with this lab, but I'm going to be helping less and less as we go because you guys should start picking up some of that slack. Okay? So use these tips, come back on Friday or Monday, ready to work, and I'll be there to help you.